not just explaining the world.
You are listening to Gaia Spoke Music on Black Power 96 with Melinda Francis, Norman Richmond, Lisa Watson on the buttons, and we were listening to the music of Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway. And Roberta Flack is celebrating her 80th birthday, and Roberta Flack was born in North Carolina. North Carolina is the birthplace of Max Roach, Thelonious Monk, George Clinton, John William Coltrane. It's a very, very, very productive state when it comes to the music of African people. And joining us on the line from Toronto, Canada is Lorraine Scott, singer-songwriter and entrepreneur. And Lorraine Scott is a longtime friend and comrade of mine. And Lorraine Scott, you have some Southern roots yourself, although you were born in Columbus, Ohio, if I'm not mistaken.
You're not mistaken. Yes, Columbus, Ohio. My mom was from Mississippi, and my dad's family is from Tennessee.
Tennessee, all right. So you got the same roots as Mr. Bobby Blue Bland, and Bobby Bland. Bobby Bland is from Tennessee. Was a man I saw when I was 9 years old. I never will forget that.
Oh my gosh!
Turn on your love lights. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, just the other day.
Just the other day, right? Just the other day. Yeah. So how are you doing today, my comrade?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you so much for including me on this call. Just since I have spoken with you of late, because normally you tend to come in and out of my life, in and out, and it's much appreciated. So this most recent entrance back into my life has led me to be a guest here on Black Power 96. And I tell you, I'm going to be a supporter. I'm going to be a listener. So I'm so glad that you told me all about it.
So let's talk about your latest. Well, first of all, why should people support this show in particular and this radio station in general?
Well, so much is available online, and I don't know if I could speak to it like I really would like to, and you have much more info than me, but it's much needed, especially here in Toronto. There are, you're such a mainstay within the whole music industry here in our city. People would love to listen in and see you, and just knowing that all these names, musicians, entertainers from back in the day and current as well, are still being played, still being listened to, through different streaming services, and then of course through you. So it's just good to know somewhere where you don't have to leave your house in order to hear about the history of and material of Black artists. So this is it's good. Oh, and I forgot to thank you. You kicked off your program with a tune that I did with Alton Ellis. Back in the day, my goodness, I didn't remember that one, but once having played it, I'm like, oh yeah, I did a few things with him back in the day.
He's a great reggae artist, yeah. I mean, big. I mean, he was out there with Bob Marley and Peter Tosh and Money Whaler back in the day, right?
Yeah, back in the day for sure. And I just on his Wikipedia page, I seen that he passed away in 2008. So prayers going up. Hope the brother is resting in peace. But quite the tune. And just, being able to cover the Delphonics, was a great thing.
My man, William Hart. Yes, William Hart and Wilbur Hart. And Major Harris and Randy Kane. They were. I shouldn't say they're legendary. No people know them all over the planet Earth.
Yeah. And that wasn't, that. Well, when I did sing with Alton Ellis, that sort of could have been, my interest into the whole reggae music scene here in Toronto, and I embraced it. I continued to sing with different artists. I toured with different reggae artists, international and local, and it's still very much a part of what I do musically. So, yeah, big up the whole reggae mass.
Who are some of the people? Yeah. I know you perform with. You backed up. You did a lot of work with Barris Hammond, the Love Man. Who are some of the reggae artists that you perform with?
Well, I have been recently. I was able to sing back vocals for Judy Mowat. She was here on solo, a little tour. It was a 4-city tour, around Canada. I did. I
didn't even know about that.
Yeah, well, see, there you go. And more recently, I was doing back vocals for Keisha Christian, which is a sister out of Barbados. And her producer was Eddie Bullen, who is quite
yes, sir. Yes,
on
ma'am.
top of the music scene here. Producer, yeah.
Right.
Producer and different things. And, and of course, Barris. Locally, Jay Douglas, sung backups with him. And
Eddie Bullen. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Eddie Bullen, what?
No, so Eddie Bullen is from Grenada, and he grew up with Maurice Bishop from Grenada. They grew up together. Yeah, Eddie Bullen's one of the greatest musicians that this city has produced. I shouldn't say this city, this country has produced.
And he's still at it, Thunderdome. Yeah. So he's doing a great job. His son is, he and him and his son Quincy are just very prominent and prolific in the music scene here. I mean, doing theater, doing live gigs, and just keeping the music going.
And before we continue, I just want to say that he's always supported whenever I've had any kind of issue with if they've done quite a few tributes to myself in Toronto, and Eddie Bullen has always put a band together and performed for myself, as well as the organizations and the radio stations that we have represented.
Yeah, for sure. He's still at it. Bless him.
Melinda, do you have any questions for Lorraine?
Sorry about that. It was on mute. I just maybe we could talk about anything you're working on right now, anything upcoming.
Well, I am working. My path is taken, just a little veer off because music. I seem to, I do a few gigs and so forth, but I'm also a designer of home decor items. So that is my company now, and I've been doing that, since the aughts for sure, but, even prior to that. So I have a business. It's called AfriFab Designs, and the thing that's coming up soon is I am going to be selling my wares at an event called Black Grapes, and this is for Black vintners here in Canada. So it's going to be a big event, and I don't think that everyone knows, but there are Black vintners, people with, some of them have to use, different vineyards, but there is Black wine being produced. And I just seen recently, Dwayne Wade, he's got his own vintage out as well. So I'm looking forward to February 21st here in Toronto, an event called Black Grape. So it'll be wine tasting from different vintners all across the diaspora, not just here in Canada. I've seen a few names that cross my path. Some African people will be coming forward too with their tasty treats. So that's what I'm doing, Melinda.
Well, that's great too. I like wine.
Yeah, me too.
So as a teetotaler, maybe I would try some of it one time.
Now, I'm going to make sure that you have a ticket to come to the event. So there you go.
If I look at that one, I might get drunk.
And if you pass on the information, we'll put it up. I don't know if listeners know, this is an opportunity that I can plug the show again. We have a new website. It's diasporicmusic.com. The hope is that, people could go and follow the show, but also look back into the archives. So we're going to be slowly archiving, the long radio history that, Norman has been on the radio. So yeah, if you have a flyer, we have a spot where we're, showcasing events. So if you could send the flyer, we'll put it up on the website.
So thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'll make sure that you do get something. It's coming up soon, February 21st, but I'm sure I'll get you something before then, Melinda. I appreciate it.
No problem. And this is fundraising. And if you haven't already yet, we are fundraising for the station. Our station goal is $10,000. Show goal is $500, but we always want more. So if people can go to their keyboards and type in Black Power 96 /donate. If you're across the border and on the Crash app, it's Black Power 96.
Okay, great.
And you are you're going to be your entrepreneurial side is that taking up most of your time right now?
Yes, it is.
And
but music gets me through those creative bursts. So I still listen to music all the time, right? And I do a few gigs here and there when I can.
But you all, where did you get that the entrepreneurial situation with you? Because when I first met you, there was a bookstore. I mean, there was Ita Sadu and Sandra.
Sandra Young, Patrick Hunter at the Ashanti Room.
The Ashanti, yeah, that's when. And when I think I had met you before then, but you've always had that entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Yes, yeah, for sure. And still, I had a great time when I started at the Ashanti Room. I was, at the beginning of what was my music career with my original music. Prior to that, I still, was singing gigs, doing gigs, working at the Club Blue Note, blah, blah, all that whole thing. But then when I did start to release my own records, I needed different looks for my videos, for on stage. So I started designing hats. So that's how I started. And that sort of led to me getting a space in the Ashanti Room. And, from there, I just started to, make different clothes, but always working with African fabric. So that was my thing. So God bless Patrick and Sandra. They provided the opportunity for me to meet, Caribbean, African, and Black Canadians, which just sort of set me off. And that's how I, begin to realized that the city was full of people of color. So being with them in the Shanti room for, I don't know, over 5 years, um, I, um, I sort of honed my craft there because Patrick and Sandra were, it was all about, African goods, bringing African fabrics, African books, to the public. So yeah, that's where I started, and started making hats, and then it morphed into something else, and then it morphed into something else, and now I am where I am today, making home decor items and always working with African fabric. So yeah.
Have you ever been to the African continent? I know you've been to the Caribbean, but have you ever been to the motherland itself?
No, I haven't.
Have you done your DNA? Do you know where your roots are from?
No, no, I haven't. My, I've had people just by the shape of my head. People have told me that. Yeah, I believe you're Ashanti. So who knows?
Your Ashanti. That's that Ashanti is that's West Africa, primarily Ghana, I believe, right?
Yeah, I don't know. No, I haven't pursued it.
Well, some people are fanatic about it, and some people think it's irrelevant. But it's become a major business. Some people, I know many people in my family. We debate that all the time. Some people say it's irrelevant, but I want to know. I don't want to know what ethnic group. I want to know what area my folks are from. Of course, you have two sides. You got your mother and your father's side. But I know that my mother's side, they're from the Yoruba group, but I don't know the rich. My father's side is they're kind of mysterioso folks.
No. Well, in hindsight, I kicked myself because I didn't get enough info from my parents or my grandparents. But as you know, and it's not something that we sat around and talked about. I mean,
no, that's right.
In some or most circles. So now with the heightened interest, this is when I kicked myself and said, wow, I have no idea. Maybe I should have learned more. But, it is what it is.
Well, you are been into to books mostly, I guess, all of your life, but you got into I guess working at the Ashanti room. You had to come in contact with African people in particular. When I say African people, people that live in Canada, we were blessed to have commingle with people from the Caribbean, from Africa, African people that grew up that were born in England and France, Germany. And this is a crazy place when you think about it, don't you think?
Yeah. And it is. It's a blessing because, so much like where I come from, it's just, it's just black and it's white, basically. No one delves into, where else you're from. Although I'm sure that we did have people from the Caribbean and maybe London, England, maybe even from Africa living in Columbus, Ohio, back in the, 50s, 60s, 70s, that type of thing. But it's always just been based on, white and black. But once I got here to Toronto, there were so many more identities to, mingle with. Just like you said just now, I never would have had the chance to meet the number of people, especially from the Caribbean, that I've been able to meet here.
Well, when I first came here, you met people from Iran, Iraq, from
Yeah.
Turkey, it is not to mention
the melting pot. Yes, for sure.
yeah. And the whole you never got into the cuisine situation. You never thought about going into that business, did you?
No, when I got here, like you mentioned earlier, Salome Bay and Howard Matthews had that covered, you know. But as well, you think about the Jamaican restaurants that have been mainstays and, are still around. Albert's, still around at St. Clair and Vaughan Road. And, the one out east there that's still around, although they've moved a little bit, maybe a little further east or whatever, a little further west. But that cuisine I had never sampled until I got here. So, yeah, it's good. No, I've never thought about it, you know. And now these times are a bit tough to be starting a restaurant, I would say.
You're listening to Double Spoke Music on Black Power 96. We are in fundraising a mode, and we're speaking with Lorraine Scott. And we really would like for our listeners to support Diaspoke Music. We are trying to bring to you the music from people here in Canada, people in the United States, people from the Caribbean. We play music from Africa, and like we continue to say, the African people have been scattered all around the world and have made music all around the world. If you take the groups coming out of England, you take a group like Still Pulse. They have members from Antigua and members from Jamaica, and like England is a melting pot as well. And I'm thinking about what's the group's name? Drummy Zeb. What's the group? If you want to leave, babe, da 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 da. Don't turn around. Drummy Zeb. What's the name of that group, Lorraine? Do you know that group I'm talking about?
No, I didn't pick up on that melody. Don't turn around. But you know what? This is what brought me here too. Once I was here, the offer was made to me and my girlfriend from Columbus, Ohio, to come and join this band. And the guy, the lead guy, his spiel was, it's international because one was from St. Vincent. We had one from St. Kitts. We had one from Trinidad and Tobago, and that was whoa. That did it for me. I'm like, whoa, I've never even heard of these places, to tell you the truth, Jamaica. So like what you were saying, these are, that was a lure for me to come and check out these guys. They said, we're looking for some singers from the States, and my girlfriend's boyfriend was like, yeah, oh gosh, my girlfriend sings, blah, blah, blah. And boom, next thing you know, we were here. So I don't know. Can't turn around. It's hard to say. I don't know which song. Baby, don't say. I don't know which song that you were trying to sing.
That's Don't Turn Around. But that was by the brother. He has Grenadian roots. Tall brother. Drummy Zeb, name of the group. Don't turn around. Oh my good. I'm having a real.
I know you're having a moment. You're having a moment. Maybe it'll come to you later.
Yeah. I listen to the song all of the time. And what's his name?
Yeah.
Who recorded his first was one of my favorite singers of all time, Luther Ingram.
Oh, really?
Loving You Is Wrong. I don't want to do right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luther Ingram. And then there's a bunch of renditions of that particular song.
Well, I'm going to Google that for you, and I'm going to call you later on your telephone and or phone in and let you know. who did that song.
You have any more questions, Melinda?
Yeah, I want to ask Lorraine, what's your favorite memory with Norman?
Oh gosh, I babysat for Norman's son with Malik. So yeah, that's my favorite memory. But there were more. Norman always had me in to do interviews on CKLN, and those were always good times. But my favorite memory is babysitting Malik.
I have some nice pictures of you with Malik.
I got
That's
some
nice.
photos too. So yes,
Yeah, Malik
Melinda,
is
that's it.
Malik is my for people that Malik is my son.
Yeah,
What is
exactly.
Malik Omowale? Malik Kwabena Omowale. I remember. Give you a joke. Fela Kuti jumped on me one time. I went to see him and we went backstage. And Malik was 6 or 7 years old, and Fela lit into me. Oh, you gave your son an Arab name, a Muslim name. No, he was, Fela was a firebrand, so he went off. I said, but Fela, his middle name is Kwabena. I said that's Ghana, and it's in Omowale, and that's Yoruba. So he backed off of me. He even bust out laughing. I will never forget that. He gave your son a Muslim name.
So yes, Melinda, that's my favorite, and he was an infant too. So I didn't have that much experience, but I went with it. Norman needed me, and I took care of Malik.
So when I won what was that award, Toronto Arts Award, you introduced me to. I remember that. That was I think we stood up in front of the mayor and all of Jean Augustine and all of the big wigs in Toronto.
Yes. So that's a good memory too.
Yeah, I remember my mother was there, and my mother was there, and my closest friend of all time, Milton Blake. Yeah, he was there. He was screaming louder than.
Yeah.
He was hollering. I could see him up. I can still see him now. He was hollering. He was hollering like I thought. Like I was listening. I was almost saying to myself, "Why this Negro shut up?" He was sounding like he was he was carrying on like I was Elvis or somebody. I say, "Woo, this guy." This big.
Yeah, just showing love. He loved you. You're loved by many. You're loved by many, Norman. And your knowledge of music knocks me out. And it fascinates me. So you are loved and highly informed on music. Yeah.
But could you imagine this guy's about 6'3", hollering and screaming
I know
like
that booming voice of his. That beautiful, beautiful voice.
Yeah. Yeah, Milton Blake. Yeah, that was my comrade. Do you remember what are your thoughts on the radio station CKLN?
What it is now?
No. In terms of what back in the day.
Back in the day, if I remember correctly, it was, indie, affiliated with Ryerson, the university, yes. Right?
Right.
And, very active in, societal issues. So yeah, and the music was good because, like I said, it wasn't so much the mainstream. Although different people's programs would branch off into stuff that was more recognizable, but it was indie, which was great. So it led on to, let a lot of people in who might not otherwise have gotten any attention, if we were relying on, bigger stations. So yeah, I remember it fondly. And now, it's still around, but it's not CKLN. It's Indy 88, still the same call numbers. And they are purely, well, they give us they give us a taste of quite a few things, but you can rely on them to bring independent music to the scene.
And you're listening to Diasporic Music on Black Power 96. And I guess is there anything else you would like to add, Melinda or Lorraine?
Yeah, I just want to remind listeners, we've been talking about community radio. It's so important that we have our own station and our own platform to bring, from our perspective. So please go and donate. It's always needed. Any amount counts. And go to blackpower96.org/donate. And if you're across the border, we're on the Cash App, Black Power 96. So, please donate and keep on donating.
And we're getting ready to go to the Jazz Zone with T in Providence, and we're going to be doing a tribute to Max Roach, who one of the greatest drummers of all time. And Max Roach is there's a film coming to Toronto about Max Roach. We hope to see that, myself and Melinda and T in Providence. But Max Roach was born in, like I mentioned earlier, Max was born in North Carolina. But he will remind you in a minute that his grandfather was from Barbados, and he is one of the innovators of the drums, and a freedom fighter, a supporter of oppressed people, in particular African people. And we're going to be paying tribute to him. And Lorraine Scott, thank you very much for supporting us, and we will definitely stay in touch with you, my sister.
Okay, sounds great. Nice to meet you, and thanks for having me on the program. I really do appreciate it. Black Power.
Nice.
Thank you. And we're getting ready to listen to